Georgia Ferret Williams was born on September 7, 1995, in Shropshire, England. She was described by everyone as a very intelligent and very polite girl. Georgia lived with her father, Stephen, a police officer, her mother Lynette, and her older sister Scarlett. She also had a boyfriend named Matthew. Georgia and her family were very close and loving to each other. She always came home early and never left without letting them know where she was going and who she was with. In addition to being a perfect student at school, she was also a cadet in the Airborne Training Corps and dreamed of one day becoming an Air Force paramedic. She loved playing sports, was described as having a vibrant personality, and was adored by all who knew her. Once she was old enough to work, Georgia took a part-time job at a local gas station and quickly made friends with all her co-workers. Among this group of friends was a boy named Jamie Reynolds, aged 23. He had been Georgia's sister's classmate. Her family were customers of the gas station, so they already knew Jamie and described him as a quiet and polite boy. After some time, Jamie began to take an interest in Georgia, making his feelings more apparent. Georgia told him that she wasn't interested in dating at the moment and that they could continue to be friends. Although Georgia didn't share the same feelings, that didn't stop the girl from spending time with him. She continued to be always polite and friendly to Jamie. As a child, Georgia felt left out by her peers, so she knew that feeling very well. She didn't want to ignore the boy, so being the kind of person that she was always made sure that Jamie was included in conversations by treating him very kindly. Jamie worked full-time at the gas station, and in one of their conversations, Jamie told Georgia that he wasn't very happy with the job, and that he had a strong interest in photography and intended to pursue a career in the area. Georgia encouraged him to follow his dream, just like she did with all of her other friends, and she offered to help him in any way she could if he needed it. Jamie asked Georgia if she wouldn't mind posing for some photos, saying he would use the photos in his portfolio. She was very excited and agreed to help him, so Georgia and a few other friends arranged to go to Jamie's parents' house to do the photo shoot. On May 26, 2013, Georgia was having a barbecue at home with her family and didn't feel like going to Jamie's house anymore. But as she had already arranged and Jamie lived a few minutes from her house, she decided to go anyway, thinking that maybe it would be very quick to take the pictures and in a short time she would be back. Georgia then went to her room to get ready, change her clothes, put on her leather jackets, and around 7:30 p.m., she left to find Jamie and her friends, telling her parents that she would be back as soon as the photo shoot was over. Georgia has always been responsible and reliable, so her parents agreed to let her go, not least because Jamie's house was only a 5-minute walk away. About 3 hours passed and Georgia still hadn't returned. Then her mom, Lynette, texted her asking if everything was okay and what time she would be home. Georgia replied by saying that once the session was over, she would be chatting with her friends a little longer and didn't know what time she would be coming home. Told them not to worry about her and ended the message with 3 kissing emojis, as she always used to do. As Georgia has always been very responsible, her parents trusted her and went to sleep. But the next morning around 6 o'clock in the morning, her mother Lynette woke up and went to Georgia's room to check if she was okay. But the girl hadn't arrived yet. Very worried, the young woman's mother decided to send another message asking where she was, and only around 7:30, Georgia replied saying that she had stayed with her friends and lost track of time. That's why she forgot to let her know before, and ended up the message by saying that her battery was low. Georgia also had 2 commitments that day: a music festival and her first driving license class that her parents were sure she wouldn't miss. Since she didn't show up all day, her parents assumed she had gone straight from her friend's house to her appointments. But another night passed and Georgia didn't return. 2 days passed and no one had seen or spoken to the young girl, which led her parents extremely worried. Despite all this concern, at first, they thought that their daughter was having a rebellious episode. That was why she was ignoring them. They decided to look for her at the homes of friends and acquaintances, but no one knew where the girl was, and they hadn't seen her for several days. So when her parents found out that she didn't even show up for her driver's license exams, which was very excited about. They decided to inform the police about her disappearance. Her boyfriend Matthew made a desperate Facebook posting saying she was missing and begged for any information that could help to find her. George's parents said everything they knew to the police, that their daughter had gone to Jamie Reynolds' house for a photo shoot. When the police checked James' background, they were in for an unpleasant surprise. In 2008, when James was 17, he was accused of trying to smother a 16-year-old girl after luring her into his home on the pretext of helping him with a project. A youth mental health services team visited James' home at a time to look into the situation further, and his parents revealed that the boy had an obsession with violent adult content and choking. They also told the team that they found several disturbing photos in Jamie's rooms of girls in which he drew uniforms on them and placed bells around their necks. At the time, the team found that the boy represented a risk to society, but the police took no action and said that the case had already been resolved. In 2011, Jamie again drew attention when he purposely chased a female colleague's car after she said she didn't want to date him. The police also didn't check the situation and didn't link George's disappearance to the case that happened in 2008. After checking his history, the police decided to go to Jamie's house, but no one answered the door, and there was no car in the garage either. The police managed to contact Jamie's parents who were traveling on holiday, and they didn't know where Jamie was, but passed the make and plate of the boy's van. After that, a search for the van began. By checking security cameras and recognizing Jamie's license plate, police were able to verify that he had his van at a hotel nearly 300 miles away in the city of Glasgow, Scotland. In the camera images, he always appeared alone. And in the hotel parking lot, he was seen doing a quick change of clothes next to his van. Shropshire police contacted Scotland police, and he was taken in for questioning. In his statement, he stated that he didn't know anything about George's whereabouts, and so far, the police couldn't prove anything. Because of his history, Jamie was arrested and taken back to Shropshire for further questioning. But he chose not to cooperate with the police and would say absolutely nothing, denying all allegations. The police returned to Jamie's house, the last known place Georgia was likely to have been. There, they found Jamie's camera, and after a brief investigation, the police found that someone had tried to wipe the memory card but failed. The photos that were on the camera showed something extremely cruel and macabre. Georgia was forced to climb onto a box with a rope around her neck, and then Jamie kicked the box, causing the girl to be hanged to death. She was photographed like this all over the house, and after he was done, he abused her dead body by photographing the entire act from start to finish. On his computer, 16,800 images and 72 videos of inappropriate and grotesque content were found. Jamie's parents said that he started consuming this type of content at the age of 14. They tried to stop him from accessing sites on this type by cutting off his Wi-Fi, but James got his own Wi-Fi without his parents knowing. They also found a notebook with 40 stories of Jamie doing terrible things to girls, including a story about Georgia, which tells exactly how they saw in the pictures. Cops believe he wrote the story before luring Georgia into his house. Despite all this discovery, Jamie pleaded not guilty. The officers took the boy into custody and later drove to Georgia's parents' home to deliver the sad news. Stephen and Lynette said that soon as they opened the door, they knew their precious daughter was no longer alive. They were extremely upset. James was charged with the crime, but he refused to say where Georgia's body was. According to Detective Hopwood, Jamie was playing with the police. The police began to formulate a timeline of Jamie's journey in the days after Georgia's disappearance, and the security cameras were instrumental in helping to find the body's location. The day after the disappearance, Jamie was seen on camera at a gas station filling up his van. At that moment, Georgia was already dead and her body was in the back of the vehicle. Jamie drove to Wrexham, left his van parked with Georgia's body in it, and stopped to watch a movie at the cinema, the same movie he had tried to convince Georgia to watch with him. one of the Fast and Furious sequels that was playing at a theater. After that, they couldn't find any more footage of him, so the police issued an appeal to the public. They asked anyone who saw Jamie's van between 5 p.m. and 10:30 a.m. in Rexvan to get in touch. Several people got in touch. One of these people said they helped Jamie to get his van that got stuck on a road and pass a location of the place where it happened. On May 31st, 5 days after her disappearance, authorities found a female body that after the analysis was confirmed to be that of Georgia Williams. Stephen, Georgia's father, also helped with the body recognition. She was naked and hidden in a wooded area near Wrexham. According to the police report, Georgia was killed between 8 and 9 o'clock that night. Police believe that Boyd left the town of Gaslow around midnight. Danny Reynolds was officially charged with murder, but he continued to deny any involvement in the case. On December 2, 2013, Jamie's trial took place. Stephen, Georgia's father, said he saw Jamie before entering the courtroom. He was laughing and joking, as if he had no regrets or empathy for the destruction he had wrought on the young woman's family. But before entering the courtroom, his behavior quickly changed from mocking to meek and childlike. On December 19th, to the relief of Georgia's family, Jamie Reynolds pleaded guilty and confessed the entire crime. He received the severest possible sentence that the laws of Great Britain allowed. The judge said that Jamie was a potential serial killer and a danger to society, and if he got out of prison, he would definitely do it again. Jamie was sentenced to life imprisonment without the possibility of parole, and became the youngest person to receive such a sentence in Britain. In 2014, the boy wanted to review his sentence, but had his request denied. The young woman's parents said the sentence would mean nothing to him, as he was to be able to see and speak to his father and mother, as they would never see Georgia again. An investigation was also carried out into how Jamie's previous attacks on other girls were handled by the police, and 6 West Mercia police officers were cautioned for misconduct. Georgia's parents said that if the police had done their part, their daughter would still be alive. After what happened to Georgia, Steve, who worked as a police officer, decided to quit, as he said he lost confidence in the police. Georgia Williams' memory was honored by the local community. They raised over £2,000 for a memorial bench to be made for her. Her family also started the Georgia Williams Trust, a charity that helps young people pursue their passions and dreams through grants and partnerships, a tribute to Georgia. Well guys, that's it for today. Thanks for watching until the end. Best wishes, and I see you next time.